G'day guys, today we're going to do a full product walkthrough and handover of the Franklin Core Caravan. Starting off at the hitch down here, this van's fitted with a DO35 fully articulating hitch. Great for when you're travelling along those corrugate or those dirt roads and you need to be able to move the hitch around. The pin which gets fitted to the back of the car, once you reverse your car up and you wind the jockey wheel down, it sits in. We push the red button to lock the pin in and we know that that's nice and secure. There's also a dust cover cap which sits on top, and if that's all locked in nicely, then we know that it's ready to go. To unhitch, it's the same in reverse. Push the red button down, slide it back, and then you'll be able to take it off the actual lock itself. We've got our handbrake here as well. To release the handbrake, take the tension off, push the button down, and then it slides forward. Part of the hitch setup, we've got our safety chains as well, which are rated to 3.5 tons. When you connect them to your car, just make sure you cross them over so that if the caravan becomes detached at all, it'll just sit nicely in that safety net, ready for you to come to a stop. Another safety feature that we've got on the front of this caravan is the RV Electronics Breakaway. And what this does, it connects to your car. Again, if the caravan did become detached from the tow vehicle, it pulls the cord out, which locks the brakes on the caravan, preventing it from rolling away into oncoming traffic. Important tip to note there, don't use it as a safety tool or as a anti-theft device, because it'll only lock the brakes on for about 15 minutes before the battery goes flat. On the front of the van, we've got a few different plugs here. We've got your grey Anderson plug, which is connected to the battery plus 35 unit. We've got a 12-pin plug, which has got 7 pins, the same as any caravan trailer, which does your brakes, your indicators, and your tail lights, etc. And then we've also got a row of 5 ancillary pins, which power the fridge in the van. And the last cable we got is a Safety Dave camera cable, which will connect to the camera kit in your car. Really important to make sure if you do get your car wired, get it done from someone who knows what they're doing and knows your caravan, an auto electrician. And if you can't find anyone, we've got one here for you. To the front of the van, the next thing we've got is our 2 9-kilo gas bottles, both connected by the LC27 connection. The cool thing about these new plugs that come with the gas bottles now is that if you do leave your gas bottle open without anything connected, you'll notice that no gas can actually come out. So to connect the LC27 connection, righty tighty, lefty loosey, on, open up your gas bottle, and then here we've got a changeover valve, and we just point the arrow to which gas bottle we want to use. So in this case, I've turned this gas bottle on and I'll switch it over so that it's using just this gas bottle. It's a good idea just to use one gas bottle at a time. If you do have it in the middle, it will draw from both gas bottles, but then you run the potential that you run out of gas and you don't have a reserve. So if you just use one at a time, when you've run out of one gas bottle, you know you've still got about half left. This van's fitted with a toolbox at the front, 2 compression locks, great location for storing things like your leads, your power cords, your leveling ramps, etc. Let's move around to the side of the van. Cool, so behind this tunnel boot door, we just open it up like so. We've got a full galvanised lining boot all the way through to the other side. In here, we've also got our brake safe control unit, and inside there's a little 7.2 amp battery, which is the one that gives power to the electric brakes when you pull that cable at the front. Underneath the tunnel boot door, we've got our corner steady legs. To operate the corner steady legs, we just take a little bit of tension off the leg, pull the red handle out until it's straight up and down. If you're on uneven ground, you can also lock it in at various angles as well. But ideally, straight up and down is where you want it to be. Now there's a 19mm end here. You can use a socket with an impact driver as well. But the important thing to note, when you wind your leg down, is you want to make sure that it's just there with a little bit of pressure. We don't use it to level our van. We don't use it to jack it up and change the tyre. It's just designed to take that rock out of the van when you're moving around inside and stop the suspension from rocking the van. So up next, you might notice on your van that you've got this little brass screw on the side of it. It's not a mistake or a flaw. It's actually there to earth the checker plate to the 240 volt system. And speaking of the 240 volt system, here we've got our inlet socket. So we've got a 15 amp inlet plug here, and then with the corresponding residual current device or the RCD, same as what you'd find in your house. Now, when you're using that, it's important to note that you need to use a 15 amp lead. And to plug it in, open it up, make sure it's seated all the way in. That can actually clip in the cable there and lock down to keep it all nice and weatherproof. On the other end of your 240 plug, you'll actually find that the earth pin on a 15 amp lead is a lot larger. You can't plug a 15 amp lead directly into the wall socket at home. However, in the caravan parks, they all come ready with 15 amp outlets. So what you can use at home is this device here, which is called an amphibian. And it's got a female 15 amp connection to plug in your caravan lead. And then on the other side, it's a 10 amp plug to plug straight into the wall in the garage, and comes with a 10 amp RCD to protect your van and your home. So the next thing on the van down here, we've got our battery box, which has got our 100 amp lithium battery in this particular model. Above our battery box, we've got our Truma hot water system. It's got a dust cover on the outside, which needs to come off before you use it. And to do that, there's a little picture on the front that shows you how you put your thumb and your forefingers, and you just twist it like so, and off comes the cover. Don't forget that one before you leave as well. Cool, so the next thing we've got on here behind our wheel guard is our water mains inlet. Behind the water mains inlet, there's a brass adapter, which looks like this, and it's a pressure limiting valve. What it does is it reduces the pressure if you're at a park with way too much pressure to 350 kilopascals, which means that your hot water system and all your John Guest fittings underneath your van don't blow off the push fittings. It also acts as a one-way valve, so that when you've got your water pump turned on, no water comes out of your inlet. So behind the mains water inlet, we've also got this brass manifold here, which lets you select which water tank you want the water pump to draw from. So you might have your forward tank off and your rear tank on, so that you draw water from your rear tank, making sure that your weight distribution is forward of the axle. It's also a great way if you want to keep one water tank for just drinking water and one water tank that you fill up with river water or for other fresh water sources that you may have. Behind there, we've got our Sullage connection. This van's not fitted with a grey water tank, so any of the water that comes out of the sinks and the shower will just come straight out of this fitting, and we'll just use our Sullage hose to run it down the appropriate drain. And then up here is the fridge vent, to be able to get behind the fridge where your 240 volt and your 12 volt wiring, gas lines, etc. are. Next to the fridge vent, we've got our toilet cassette. So to hop in here, just lift up the blue flap, slide your toilet cassette out. To empty your toilet cassette, firstly, comes with a handle and wheels for you to be able to walk it along to the dump point. We've also got the cap we take off the spout, head over to our dump point, and then when we use the toilet cassette, we just push in the blue button at the back. That allows air to come back inside, so that when you empty out the liquid, it's replacing the volume with air. There's also a port here that you can use to get in, this one, when you can use to get in to hose out your toilet cassette. And then to put it away in reverse, put the cap back on, slide it back in until you hear a click. Ready to go. Cool, so around the back of the van here, we've got our full-size spare wheel, and up the top there, we've got a rear view camera. The rear view camera is designed to see the traffic behind you whilst you're driving along. However, you can tilt it down to see the back of the van to help and aid when reversing as well. As part of the van, comes with the camera monitor kit, which gets installed into your car with when your auto electrician is wiring up for your fridge and your Anderson plug, etc. Cool, so coming around to the door side of the Caravan now, we've got our picnic table here, we've got our 2 NCE outdoor marine speakers, our awning light, as well as a 240 volt outlet socket, a 12-volt socket and a coaxial point for running our TV outside too. And then at the front, we've just got our other end of our tunnel boot ready for all that storage. Just before we do the awning, another important thing inside the tunnel boot here is you've actually got your VIN plate. The VIN plate tells you all the things like your tear weight, how much payload you can put in your van, what your max ATM can be, as well as your tyre pressures that you should be running your tyres at. Let's have a look at the awning. So this van behind me is fitted with the Aussie Traveller awning. The first thing we want to do is using our reachy stick, come on up and flick it into the open position. We can then come in and undo the travel locks and loosen the awning knobs off. Repeating the process on the other side. Using our stick, we can come up into the pull down strap and pull it down towards us. Now when we pull the awning out, a common mistake that people make is they go too far. We want to make sure that this position is in the 3 o'clock so that when the water comes in, it runs off. If I overextend the awning and I put it out, what ends up happening is water pools in this channel and it creates an extra hazard for your awning. So we'll just roll it back up a little bit till we get to there, and we'll go the next step. Putting our awning arms out, we can raise the height to the desired height and tension our awning knob. We'll repeat that process on the other side, sliding up and locking into place, and raising the height of our awning and tensioning our awning knob. So again, you can see here that if water was to come down, it will just roll off. It's not actually creating any pooling on top. That's one way that we can have the awning set up. Another way that we can do it is by pulling the leg out from the van. So again, we just put that onto its desired height, loosen the awning knob, unclick it from the side of the van, stand it upright, leaving a bit of tension on, and then tightening the awning knob from there. This just gives you a lot easier access in and out of underneath your awning when you set up for a longer period of time. So really important that when you do have your awning set up, you've got it secured firmly to the ground. A really great tip that you can have is one of these ground dog pegs. So it comes in this kit here with brackets and everything to secure your awning all the way to the ground. So packing away the awning, we just do everything in reverse. The first thing we're going to do is grab our leg, loosen the tension of our knob up there, and place that back inside the van. Then we'll go around to the other side. Slide that all the way down, loosen the knob tension, push the button in here which slides the rail down. Do the same on this side. Push the button, down we come. To get this into the closed position, just take a little bit of tension off and flick the lever over. Then we can grab our strap. Thank you, sir. Using that. And the last little bit, we want to put it away with a little bit of oomph to make sure that it winds up nice and tight. Rather than just walking it in, it keeps it all loose. Lastly, we lock off our arms, tighten the knobs to prevent them from rattling loose and falling off while we're driving. And that's our awning packed away, ready to travel. Next, let's have a look inside. So we've got our main entry door here. One cool feature about this door is you can actually split it so that you've got a midgy fly screen here, get your nice breeze inside, and you can still lock this door back off to the side. And then to reattach it together, just make sure you click in because it's got 3 locking points, and that's ready to go. Let's head inside. So on this van here, just inside the door, we've got our RV View 2 system. What that does, it's just a battery display. It shows us how much battery voltage we've got left, as well as what our input amps and our output amps are. Next to that, we've got our lights for inside and our annex lights, as well as a master switch to kill all power. Moving around, we've got our full kitchen here. Underneath this lift up lid is our stove and mini grill. It's a 4-burner gas stove here. To light it, we just hold the button down, turn it around, and we can hear gas coming out. Hit our piezo, hold it down until the thermocouples had a chance to heat up, and then we can let it go and our gas is still lit. And it's exactly the same for the grill underneath, which is also gas. Next, we've got our stainless steel sink with our flick mixer connected to our water pump and also to mains water when we don't need our pump. We've got our TV connection at the top here, our SIG socket and coaxial cable connected to the antenna on the roof, as well as a booster switch which you can turn on to get better signal. We've got multiple 240 volt power outlets to power all of your appliances. So onto our TV. It's on a full swivel mount, so we can watch it while we're sitting at the cafe lounge or also in bed. One thing that's really important to note on the telly is you might need to tune it when you're in different regions. So just go to menu, find the tuning feature, and you'll be able to tune it. When we're traveling, we want to make sure that the TV is taken off the wall, which just slides off. And a good place for it is to place it on your bed or tuck it up underneath the lounge here. So we're in the bedroom now, and we've got our windows. With these windows, we just undo the travel locks and can push them open. And they've got little bits that if you just hear a click, you can let it go. And then to bring it back in, we just push it like so and it comes in. We've got ourselves a fly screen for when we want to have the window open. And then we've also got a block out blind for at night. A lot of people ask, how do you want to have your windows, your blinds when you're traveling? For these particular ones, we want to make sure that they're fully open. The risk you run is if you travel with your blinds closed like this and you hit a bump and it flings open, you could damage the blind. So for this particular one, just keep them totally separated. So we've got our Sirocco fans in this fan. There's 2 of them, 1 on each wall. To operate them, we just pull that lever down. We can bring the fan around into the desired position of where we want it, whether it be pointing back at the couch or pointing down at bed. And then we've got a button here. There's 3 fan settings, low, medium and high. And then we just push it again to turn it off. There's also a button for a timer, so you can have it set to turn off after a set time. Putting it away against the wall so you don't knock your head when you move out. So there's plenty of storage either side of the bed, and also the little reading nooks there to put your books at night. There's 240 volt power, USB-A and USB-C for charging your phones, as well as a switch on the wall for operating the lights in the bedroom. We've got more 240 volt power, and then down in this cupboard here is where the battery management system and a few more switches are. So behind this cupboard, we've got our BMPro HA35. It's a 35 amp hour AC, DC and solar controller charger. We've got our Odyssey Link 104, which is also a Bluetooth. There's an app that you can put on your phone to turn the lights and things on and off. We've got our solar isolation switch. We've got a switch for our hot water system, our air conditioner, as well as our water pump, and also the controls for our gas hot water system. The way that the gas hot water system works, in the center position, it's off. And then if we want to operate it on gas, there's a 60 degrees up or 70 degrees down, and you'll hear the gas start lighting. Don't forget to take that gas cover off as well. And then finally, we've got our water tank levels as well. So we've got our cafe lounge here with our trifold table, which actually comes out and extends into a full table as well. And then we can easily pop it away. More 240 volt power, USB-A and USB-C. And let's have a look at the fridge. Cool, so this is a Dometic 3-way fridge, an RUA series. And the way that it works is off 240 volt, 12 volt and gas. It's designed to work off gas when you're free camping and 12 volt when it's plugged into your tow vehicle. It won't work off 12 volt off your Caravan battery, otherwise it'll draw too many amps and flatten your battery really quick. Cool, so in our setting menu, you'll see that we've got our temperature range, our energy mode, and some other settings down the bottom. The most optimum range for running our temperature is on setting 3. Some people believe that if they change it up to setting 5, because the fridge isn't getting cold enough that it'll be more efficient. That's not the case with 3-way absorption fridges. So just running it on setting 3 is definitely the most efficient. If we just push one button, we can get to our energy selection. At the moment, you can see that it's on auto and there's a picture of a 240 volt plug. That's because we're plugged into mains power. If we disconnect mains power, it will actually try to light on gas because we're not connected to a tow vehicle. If we disconnect from mains power and we're connected to a tow vehicle, then the picture of the battery symbol would come up, which is where the vehicle's designed to operate on battery. To reset, if we ever get a fault come up, so I'm just going to put it into fault mode by trying to put it on manual selection on battery, you'll see a red flashing symbol. If you believe that you've got the right setting in there, and where the most common thing this will happen is if I'm trying to light it on gas, because I'm free camping, but I haven't got the gas bottles turned on, it will only try and light a couple of times before it goes into fault mode. So if I've then turned my gas bottles on and I want to get it out of fault mode, I'll hold the big silver button in until I hear one beep, not until the whole thing turns off. So I'll hold it in, listen for the beep, let go, and then it'll try and light again on gas. So that's the RUA Dometic fridge. It's a super reliable fridge, but if you do have any dramas, there are lots of troubleshooting guides in the manual, which comes with your van. So the operation of the toilet, we lift the seat up, there's a flap underneath, which opens it up. We do our business. When we're finished, there's a button on top, which flushes the toilet before we can close the flap again. There's a sensor on the left-hand side, which will tell you how much is left in before you need to empty the cassette. Moving on, we've got our wall-mounted washing machine here. Really easy to use. Put your clothes in. You've got your buttons here. You can pick your temperature and your cycle that you want to do, and then just press start. We've got another flick mixer, hot and cold tap, more switches for your lights, and then a super large shower with flick mixer, shower rose, and up the top you've got a shower hatch with an extraction fan as well. So lucky last, on the roof here we've got our Dometic air conditioner. You can operate it by the remote or by pushing the buttons on the top, just like your standard reverse cycle air conditioner that you have at home. We've also got a roof hatch here. This one operates just by twisting the bar and then setting it to the desired height. It's also got a block out blind for at night or a fly screen to keep those bugs out during the day. Don't forget to pack it away before you travel. Also on the roof here we've got our Wineguard TV antenna. It's got an up and a down arrow, and it can also be spun around to get the direction of the signal that you need to get. Well, that's it folks, the full handover on the Franklin Core Caravan. We hope you've enjoyed that. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. Until then, we wish you many safe travels.